For the misplaced focus and story, chapter 16, the misplaced focus, story and comprehension. I'm going to read to you the story, and then you're going to answer 5 questions regarding Jerome and his misplaced focus. Chapter 16, misplaced focus, cell phone etiquette. Jerome was packing a large bag of groceries when he heard the tune of his cell. "Oh boy, I have a call," Jerome announced as he plunked the groceries into the cart in a discourteous manner. Since James had been fired, Jerome's cell had been silent. It had spent each day mute, clipped to his belt, where he placed it each morning. Now Jerome unclipped his cell from his belt. He was obviously pleased. Uncertain how loud he needed to talk, his "hello" carried across the checkout lanes. If Jerome had been watching or listening, he would have noticed the people waiting in the checkout line did not seem happy about his behavior. Ellie, the cashier, was shocked at Jerome's behavior. She looked at him and shook her head. "Hi, Jerome, this is Alan. Remember me? We were in Shayna's training class together." Jerome heard Alan's voice clearly on his cell phone. So did everyone on the checkout line. The elderly lady, expecting her groceries to be bagged, said in an irritated voice, "Come on, Jerome, I'm in a rush." The customers behind her groaned their displeasure as well. Jerome, however, heard none of that. He was focused on his first real cell phone call. To top that off, it was from his friend Alan. "Gosh, Alan, I'm so glad to hear from you. How did you get my number?" Jerome chatted as if he had all the time in the world. Meanwhile, Ellie kept right on ringing up prices of the grocery items on the belt. Groceries were backing up on the counter and piling up at Jerome's bagging station. Ellie had an annoyed look on her face. The customers voiced their annoyance with Jerome's behavior to Ellie and to each other. As if planned, 2 of the customers called out, "Alan, Jerome is at work. Call him back later." And with that, Ellie turned around to Jerome and firmly stated, "This is not appropriate, Jerome. Call Alan back when you are not working." So now we are going to answer some questions over this that I just read to you, the story I just read to you about Jerome and his misplaced focus. So let's see here. Oops. So hopefully when you guys are working, you do not behave like Jerome and answer phone calls in the middle of bagging groceries or doing a task that you've been asked to do, because that would be no good, right? So the first question, Ellie's body language sent a message to Jerome. Her hands on her hips, her frown, and her raised eyebrows showed that she was blank. Was she annoyed, excited, or surprised? Question 2, what happened to interrupt Jerome as he was packing groceries? A customer asked him a question. He heard the tune of his cell. His bike was stolen. Question 3, why were Ellie and the customers annoyed with Jerome? Jerome did not count the customers' correct change back after the purchase. Jerome had stopped working to tie his shoe. Jerome took a phone call in the middle of working. Customers and Ellie were waiting on him to do his job. Question 4, what might have happened if Ellie had not said, "This is not appropriate, Jerome. Call back when you are not working"? Jerome may not have gotten off the phone and he could have been disciplined by his supervisor. Jerome would have been promoted. Customers would have waited patiently. And finally, question 5, how did Jerome treat the customers by talking on the phone instead of doing his job? Jerome was tending to the customers' needs. Jerome was being rude and not courteous to the customers. Jerome was doing his job well and customers were happy. So make sure you submit the quiz and remember, don't be like Jerome and talk on your phone when you're working. I'll see you on the next assignment.